This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the Daily FX Forum.
I want to wish everybody a happy and healthy new year. Here are the 5 pairs that I will be discussing this evening: the Euro Pound, the Aussie Kiwi, the Pound Swiss, the Euro Swiss, and the Euro Aussie. So let's go ahead and pull up the charts. The first chart is the Euro Pound. If you recall, during the last report, I really didn't see any imminent trade setups on this pair. What I have done is I've added a longer term support line to the chart right here, which would be this line that I'm pointing at right now. And we also have that 88.40 area. For resistance, we have this thin blue line as well as this thicker white line. Now, right now prices are in the middle of the range, so I really don't see anything setting up right now. We might look for prices to come and hit that it's about the 90 figure, which would be this light blue line, but I still like this white thicker resistance line for the trade setup, but that's about 150 pips away right now. Moving forward, I am looking for an eventual downside breakout on the pair, so what we might do this week is look for these levels. That would be confirmed by a close beneath preferably that 88.40 area. So that's something we can look for, but certainly if prices do brush up against these resistance lines, I will update that in the future reports. The next chart is the Aussie Kiwi, and not much has changed here. Again, we were stopped out on that trade idea when we were long from 24.60, stopped out 24.10. So looking at the charts now, I do still like this level now from the opposite side though, and this is about the 24.40 area as resistance. So prices right now brushing up against it again. We could see actually prices came and spiked above the line and then closed back beneath it during yesterday's session. So I like a short trade here. Entry 24.30 with a stop at 24.80. Again, that short 124.30 with a stop at 124.80. The next chart is the Pound Swiss, and if you were in that trade, again, that was an entry at 166.50 with a stop at 167.25. You were stopped out. Again, that's just part of trading, and I'm just going to sit on the sidelines now as this line, it's a little bit ugly. It's not very clean at all in terms of it acting as resistance. It did, but there was severe penetration as well as closes above it. So right now I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and wait for something more clear to materialize. The next chart is the Euro Swiss, and if you were listening to the last report, which was this doji candle right here, you were stopped out on that trade idea. That was about, depending on when you entered, either at 148.78 with a stop at 148.40, or on the next report, I believe it was 148.62, again with that same stop at 148.40. So again, a small loss. Right now, looking at the chart, I kind of like the same trade idea. This is a borderline doji candle as well. Some longer wicks, but obviously the body is a little bigger. But I would have a bullish bias against the low of that candle, which is 48.07, and right now prices about 48.39. So I like this entry right now on the long side. Again, that would be long 148.40 with a stop. We could put it right at the figure at 148 even. Again, long 148.40 with a stop at the figure 148. The next chart is the Euro Aussie, and prices actually have broken beneath the previous lows here, which is about the 159.44 area on this low, and I believe about 159.60 right here. So right now prices at about 57.80. I would like to see prices come back up and test the previous support line from the opposite side, where we might look to enter on the short side, but that's about 125 pips away right now. So that's something we can obviously monitor for the rest of the week. And again, we'd look to enter short, let's call it 159.40 with a stop, let's call it 159.90. But again, that's something that I don't see materializing over the next 24 hours, but I'll certainly update over with tomorrow's report. Again, my name is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening, and please stay tuned for a preview of the Daily FX Forums. I want to take this opportunity to formally welcome you all to the Daily FX Forums. I want to go through the process of how I personally access the forums and how maybe you at home, if you want to access the forums in the future, might do so. The first thing you would do is go to www.dailyfx.com, and that will bring up, obviously, dailyfx.com, and usually there on the upper right hand corner I'll go ahead and click on where it says forum, and that will bring up the first page of the forums. And this view, I personally don't use this view, but this view actually shows you the most recent posts on all the threads within the different sections, and a little detail about those posts, so you can read through and see if there's something catches your interest. But but personally I go ahead and just click on forums and view them in the more traditional sense. Now these are different threads within the forum. There's a section on education such as Daily FX course instructor tips, which would be good for newer traders, and then for more advanced traders. And I just want to go ahead, personally the way I use the forums is I would go through the individual threads just looking for trade ideas, maybe looking at charts, looking at certain lines that maybe I didn't put up on my chart but another trader might have put up on their chart. I tend to shy away from using direct trade recommendations from other forum members, but it helps me to sort of even out my analysis, make sure that I'm seeing things with the right mind in terms of I might be missing stuff that other traders can see, and that's my personal way of using the forum. Every trader is going to be a little bit different in how they use it. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to become an active participant of the members, you would have to go ahead and register. So that's what I'm going to go through now, is the registration process. So assuming you're brand new to the forums, or maybe you've been here a few times and you're not really sure how it works, so I just want to walk through again the registration process. This would be the front page where you would access, or the previous page. You'd have the same little box here on the left hand side. My username and password are already filled out here, but assuming you're a new member, you would click on where it says register, and that will bring up the registration page. If you give me one moment here while my browser loads. And actually first we're going to have some terms of service and Daily FX forum rules. I do suggest reading through the forum rules. Obviously, profanity and spam and things like that are not allowed, but it also gives you insight on how to use the forum and how different traders can use it, in terms of their individual needs. So you would go down to the bottom there. You'd click on where it says I have read all the rules, and then you would go ahead to the register, the formal registration page, and that will bring up here. And you can go ahead and select the username, and how about we'll use 4x, and that name is already in use, so maybe add a few more x's there. Again, it really, your individual username is up to you, and you go ahead and fill in your password, your email address. Now the most difficult aspect of registration for the Daily FX forums will be figuring out these letters in the box here. Now I'm a semi-intelligent person, but I have a very difficult time figuring out which letters and numbers to use. Now there is a reason for this madness. It helps with security, but I would suggest just going ahead and keep on clicking that refresh image until something comes through that you can actually identify and see. Then you can go ahead and enter your birthday, but you can decide whether or not to display that to other forum members. And then also, if you were referred by somebody, you can enter that information there. The time zone, that should default to your computer, but you should double check and make sure. And then you can opt in, and I would suggest opting in for these emails in terms if the administrators want to go ahead and send you some notices about the forum, and then you would complete registration. Now what happens is they would send you an email to the email address that you put up here, and that email will include a link, and all you would have to do is go ahead and click on that link, and that link will bring you inside the forum, and you would now be a member of the Daily FX forums. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening.